Hello and welcome to the Grade Cricketer Podcast. On today's show, England claimed the Wisden Trophy 2-1 after some gorgeous, clean Ollie Pope runs. Stuart Broad's 10for, thus taking him past 500 of your test wickets. And Chris Woakes' underrated salad. Rahkeem Cornwall didn't do anything, but we need to talk about the ultimate rig-based selection on top of some IPL chat and being forced to turn up in your club match in whites. Jack Leach is on the show from the bubble in Manchester to talk about the NHS and a surprising defence of his own rig. Mitchell Starc is on the show from Makara in the Northern Beaches to discuss baiting Coley, Warner's TikToks and golden balls. Cummins, hashtag AskTJC, centres around umpires with criminal convictions, being called daddy kisser by your mates, and what to do if a love interest likes cricket. This is all thanks to Budgie Smuggler, budgiesmuggleruk.com, and also Pezza, Wisden Cricket Monthly, who are offering a good little deal to our listeners, which we'll talk about a little later in the show. My name is Ian Higgins and I'm joined by Sam Perry. Pezza.
G'day.
Good afternoon, good evening and good nights to you. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Good to be here in your, Melbourne homestead, working.
All right, enough of that.
Sorry.
Stuart Broad's 500th test wicket, 501 test wickets. It brought a question to my mind. Have you ever witnessed an achievement of such, grandiose, whatever?
Majesty.
Yes, thank you. With little to no fanfare, obviously referring to there being a lack of crowd, which I felt sorry for him about.
I thought about it. Here goes. Thank you for that question. You preempted this question. I had some time to prepare, and of course you scan your memory all the time.
Endlessly. Being
part of the grade cricketer for things that happened while you played grade cricket, and you think, geez, I really should be able to, come up with things that had little to no fanfare. During my career, because that's literally what happens. But I've not got a cricket example, actually. I've got a recent example.
Perfect.
From outside the cricket sphere. Mm-hmm. It came online on Saturday night, July 25, a tweet from at 1an_Higgins. And it said, sitting in my apartment with no lights on, thinking that if we put a giant mirror approximately 66 million light years away in space, we'd be able to see dinosaurs. Ha, 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 yeah, I'll have another glass. Thanks, mate. Cheers, see you later, bye. Now, I think this was a great achievement without much fanfare because it limped to 91 likes.
Okay.
But I thought it was really good. I thought, good little metaphysician.
Thanks.
So
someone said that would also work if it was 33 million light years away.
Yeah.
And as you know, I don't do anything by halves, Pezza. So
can you see into the past with that?
Well, because if you're looking in your own mirror, if you're looking at any mirror, right, the actual reflection that you're looking at is actually about like 4 nanoseconds or something from what you're actually seeing.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you are a metaphysician out there,
Nothing's live.
Nothing is live. That's very good. If you are familiar with whether we can see into the past with mirrors, as Ian has just alleged, please let us know. I would love some more information on that as we expand this podcast beyond Broad's 500 test wickets and whatnot. So yeah, mate.
Yeah. I mean, you rightly said the correct answer is everything that's ever happened on a great cricket field has no fanfare.
That's right. But are they achievements?
Or are they waste of time?
Yeah, exactly.
Joe Rogan was actually talking about video games, how they're like a massive waste of time. You don't achieve anything. You don't achieve anything. And then as people have pointed out, well, he does like 3-hour-long podcasts just sitting around smoking weed and drinking wine. So,
and selling it for 120 million to Spotify.
And rightfully so.
Come and get me, plea. Great cricketer.
People aren't talking about Chris Woakes' salad.
No.
It's really good. It's really good. And he's nice. He's a nice guy. He's the kind of guy he'll call you the next morning.
Yeah?
He'll call you the next morning.
Yeah. Warwickshire boy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't mean to call him boy. I mean, that's,
Took 5 wickets in the 4th innings here in Manchester. But also that doesn't really matter because Stuart Broad gets the 500 and that's the story. And the 10 for the match, obviously. But
that's almost Woakes' story, though, a little bit, isn't it? I mean, it's going to be the story of the match is Broad takes 10 for man of the match, hits an incredible 60 off, very few rocks.
Yeah.
And they are rocks.
Seeds.
Yeah. And it's a bit of a take that to selectors, and he takes his 500th pole. The spell of the match was Woakes. And I feel like Woakes has been doing that through his career. Like, is he Broad light? Is he always going to be in Broad's shadow until he goes? Maybe who cares?
Didn't we speak the other day about how maybe no one cares? Isn't this the thing with Woakes, rather, that he's got an incredible record in England? But has there ever been just a better England-specific bowler? Because, I mean, he's come out to Australia before and it hasn't really worked out. And obviously Australia's the be-all and end-all of all cricket.
Well, that's right.
But, I mean, you go to India. Like, it works in England but doesn't work other places. But is it okay to just be that, people say that's like Khawaja Or Dave Warner, the home runs. What about the home runs? What about where are the away runs? You know,
Are we talking about Woakes or Broad here or both?
well,
Because I think it applies to both.
well, Broad's got 480 home wickets.
Yeah.
I was more talking about Woakes.
Oh, yeah. Well, I
Because
don't know.
Woakes for me is the story of this match.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to focus. This is the Woakes show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
It's the Woke cast.
It's all part of Australian perceptions, isn't it? I mean, it really, and we'll get into this with Broad and stuff. But you know, if it doesn't happen in Australia, did it happen? We've said that many, many times before. It's completely incorrect. It's all a matter of perception. And he can do what he likes in England. But you know, the comments underneath the cricket.com.au post will always just be like, "Well, you've got them all at home." Doesn't matter. I didn't see them because I was asleep.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Well, the real story. I can't believe we just started this show talking about Woakes. That's my bad. I was just looking at his hair. The highlights this morning. The beard's good. Headband's looking nice.
Yeah.
Good salad.
Yeah,
very nice guy.
Yeah, it's very English and I like it. Yeah.
Okay, so Stuart Broad takes his 500th Test wicket.
Yes.
I mean, let's start with the negatives.
Please.
Why didn't he walk in the Ashes? No. What the fuck were England playing at not picking him in the first Test? I mean, that's the only reason the West Indies are in this series, up until the final day when they're trying to bat to save the series to retain the Wisden trophy. What the fuck were they playing at not picking him? He's better in England at the moment than Anderson, which is a big call.
Well, yeah, like a little bit to say about Stuart Broad here. Obviously, congratulations on 500 Test wickets.
Come on the show.
Please come on the show, Stuart. We have invited you once or twice. We were close and then doesn't happen, but that's okay because he's of that sufficient standard where you sort of go, well, he's allowed to brush us.
Yeah.
Greg Matthews just says not yet. He does. His latest answer was not yet. And I like that. I'm like, when, Mo?
Yeah.
And I like that.
Yeah. If not now, when?
Exactly.
No one's busy.
I want to, just on the topic of Broad and starting with negativity, which reflects more on Australians here, like this is courtesy of Nick Tuvey on Twitter @12. It's a very good account. Aussie guy. Loves the Bears, actually. And I got his permission to kind of run this. But he wrote this morning, like he ran every cricket.com.au comment through AI, artificial intelligence, and got it to generate some typical responses on the Stuart Broad post, which was a cricket.com.au post this morning congratulating him on 5 wickets. And there's been a few of these from Australia. We'll get to that in a second. But here are the comments. 320 wickets in homeland. Definitely the most average bowler on that list.
The HBO
Stuff
show.
the Poms stick to posts about Australians. Majority of goods wickets at home and its great achievements, but when Asian bowlers spinners achieve such numbers, they are home flat pitch bullies, double standards by the white cricketing fraternity. Not sure how I'd feel if he overtook McGrath. I'd get close to 500 if I bowled on some of those pitches in England. Also, smashed it to slip, am I hot and gay boy. That was the response. They were the cricket.com.au responses. Just to be clear, Nick didn't run that through AI. They were literally just the responses underneath the...
And that wasn't just one response, was
No.
it? That was...
Sorry, I wasn't clear. It was a bullet point. Yeah, that was about 8 different responses. So that's Australia. I noticed like ABC Grandstand this morning on Facebook have got a picture of Anderson and Broad and the question is, name a better pace duo, ... You know, it's like a red rag to an internet-brained Australian bull. So the social platforms are trying to capitalise on this for a bit of clickbait and a little bit of wind-up stuff. I mean, at the end of the day, Stuart Broad, what a bowler. An incredible bowler in England, also outside as well. 65% of his wickets are at home, okay? So what's just the what, 200 on away? Don't know. Pretty good player and probably, at this moment, England's best quick.
Yeah. Well, he's gonna go past McGrath. McGrath had 563. Anderson's on 589. I think the more interesting question is who's going to finish with more. Anderson's 37. He's on 589 wickets. Broad has just turned 34. Anderson also, just turned 37, 3 years apart. Broad's got 3 years to go past Anderson. He might do. I mean, they're both going to go past 600, I imagine. It's amazing.
It is. What they've done is amazing. It's as simple as that.
Do we as Australians have to say, but if they played in England, then they would, like McGrath would have had 900 wickets. But he played in the fucking Gabba.
Why don't Australians like him? He goes, there are many reasons, I think, because he didn't walk. I think it's more than that.
Mate, the walking thing, sorry to interject, the walking thing is like the fucking best, it's the most Australian thing you can do.
Exactly.
I bet, Gilchrist walked. He's probably the only guy in Australian history who's walked. Like, that was funny. What Broad did there was funny. There's other things I don't like about Broad. The celebrappeal's got to go. It's shit. It's shit, the celebrappeal. I know, like, if you're English, you're probably like, I love it. It's shit.
We're going to have 5 different topics that have raised that we must bring together over the next few minutes.
I'm now speaking about in the same way that one guy commented on Broad, the AI.
So, like, Aussies don't like him for reasons that can be traced back to insecurity, I think. Like maybe he looks a bit preppy, like a bit English, sort of soft face. He smashed it to
Soft face.
smashed it to slip once. But I still think it's like because of 140s club stuff. You know, like, and if it didn't happen in Australia, it didn't happen. So, like, you know, Broad hoops it, he hits the seam, he pumps those knees, but like the ball doesn't go through the chest. So we don't know how to respect that. He doesn't frighten people. Like Australians will respect opposition bowlers who deal in fear. You know, like they like Stain, they like Rabada, guys who've done it in Australia a little bit. They like
Flintoff.
Bumrah, Flintoff, Wasim, Waqar. Obviously Wasim, he really hooped it, but like he still frightened guys. It was a humiliation, a fear. In fact, it was a wide eyes popping out of the head sort of stuff. Like we respect that. It's visceral. Broad doesn't do that in Australia, so therefore it doesn't count. It's the same with Anderson, although the record suggests otherwise.
That's sexy language through the chest. He doesn't get it through the chest.
Through the chest.
I fucking love that.
But
Get it through the chest, Pezza.
exactly, get it through my chest. But you know, on the other hand, like England didn't pick Broad for that first test.
Yeah.
They picked a team ready for the Gabba in 2021, and when Wood and Archer break down in that match, and Australia win by an innings and 145 runs, we'll see what a disaster it was that England's picked Broad for these last two tests. 16 wickets in 2 games, who cares?
The GS Bowl and the Gabba are often compared in the same breath.
Celebrappeal.
Celebrappeal.
So give me more on your
Not into
your
it,
feelings.
mate. Not into it. Like, I just... First of all, the rule was literally changed because... Like it was a shit look, and that like you need to respect the umpire's decision. But it's not even that for me. It's just like it's real. I haven't actually thought about this in terms of articulating it in any sort of way. Why would I? Because I'm not a professional communicator.
Not in words.
Not in words. But it's just like running. Like there was one in this match just there where he literally just gave it a double barrel fist pump as the ball hit the pad.
Yeah.
It's like it's
a meme now.
It's not funny.
Yeah.
He's done some funny stuff in the past, Broad. I'm not a Broad hater.
Yeah.
As I said before, love the nicking it
Love
to
and
gully and not
respect,
walking. Love the, over the mouth shock face.
Yeah, shock face.
Yeah, early masking from Stuart. Trent Bridge 2015
Ahead of his time.
when he took 8 for 15 in 4 minutes against Australia. Celebrappeal's got to go. And it's more like the fucking jerking off from people on the internet being like, oh, it's so good. It's shit.
Celebrappeal. It's one of those things like a new English Premier League player that you've never said it out loud before. I've seen the word celebrappeal. But look, can we get into the granularity of
I haven't articulated that well. I just sound like an angry Australian.
Well, I want to I think there's a bit of nuance to it. So
Is there?
good quicks average a wicket every 50 to 60 balls or so. So like in my more generous moments, I'm thinking if you've run in 20 metres, 25 metres, and then like on the 55th time you wrap the pad, you're in a contest with a bat. Like I can understand a bowler going, I don't want to turn around. Like I know that's out. I don't want to turn around. I'm just going to go for it. That's fine. But now that it's a bit of a meme, it's a trademark, it's like a brand, I've got sort of more detailed theories on it, right? So like, I reckon you can do the celebrappeal as long as you like until you get one wrong. As soon as you celebrappeal and the umpire says not out, like it's not dead, you look shit. I think it looks ordinary. It looks like a gimmick. It's good for stone dead dismissals, but like when it's used as a tool to con the umpire, I think it loses its spirit. Like it's about arrogant pageantry. Like I got you. You're dead. I'm not even going to look at the umpire. You're so dead. Out. I nailed you. But now it's used as a kind of like, no, this is definitely out. And then there's the whole awkwardness of like, it's not given out. Then you get a shock face. And I mean, my memory is that like McGrath and Lee started that kind of stuff as well.
I
But
think
now,
so, yeah.
now Broad's made it. He's kind of his meme. I just think if you're going to do it, get it right. That's all I'm saying. Otherwise, it looks a bit yuck.
The funny thing about the appeal is that, like, when LBWs are so funny that you don't have to appeal?
Yeah.
But it hits a pad and people start laughing.
Yeah.
Like the ball comes back down the middle of the wicket and it hits like the fleshy part of the pad where it feels quite nice as a batsman. Just like, oh, that was soft. The belly felt the impact.
I middled that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the nice bit. That's when a celebrappeal can work, where it's funny. People are laughing. Same as like when Flintoff sledged Tino Best. Like when Tino Best ran down the wicket and got run out effectively, stumped by Gerard Jones, it was like he didn't need to send him off. He just started laughing because the whole situation was funny. That's the spirit of a celebrappeal. But like, yeah, I agree with you, and you've articulated that much better than I have. Rahkeem Cornwall, Pez.
Yeah.
What a rig.
Yeah, I mean, it.
Do you know his story?
I don't.
Well, so when I say, do you know his story? Like there's only one story about Rahkeem Cornwall. No, the thing is that apparently he was tapped up by the San Francisco 49ers, who were obviously going through something at the time because it was around about the same time when Jared Hayne, the rugby league player in Australia, went over there, and there was a couple of other guys who didn't have any sort of American football experience. And Rahkeem Cornwall, they literally tapped him up because they saw him and his 6'6" frame. It's just like I don't. Stone to me is an unusual measurement where I don't know, it doesn't equate to anything. It doesn't go to my metric brain.
It's not intuitive,
Exactly. Anyway, they just saw him and they think we want a bit of that.
Yeah.
We want a bit of that.
a piece of
and then it just, to me, it just goes straight into the thing of just like every single athlete professionally in the entire world is just a gift. He's born. Everyone out there is just slugging it out on the weekends thinking like, if I just make one score here, I can build myself up. Nah, it's a gift. It's all a gift. He never even played American football. 6'6", just scout comes on and goes, wouldn't mind a bit of that.
Look at the rig.
But then he got picked for the West Indies in a test match and he's like, the dream was over.
Yeah, man. I mean, how I don't know, like,
We're all fucking wasting our time, man.
Yeah,
Playing this stupid game.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I've got some stuff going on at home. Come on, angry this morning.
Yeah. You didn't expect it either. Yeah. No,
fuck you say?
Everything, I think every superlative has been said about Rahkeem Cornwall. And I think when you trawl the internet, as we do,
yes,
for work,
you can't. You don't navigate the internet. You trawl.
You trawl.
Yes.
Like a trawler on the Great Barrier Reef.
Everyone's a bottom feeder at the fucking internet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Causing environmental damage, picking up.
Oh, mate, the damage.
That's right. The reef ends up bleaching, and that's like my brain. The internet. I'm not saying my brain's a Great Barrier Reef because it's one of the 7 wonders of the world. My brain is not that.
You've got bleach reef brain.
Yeah, exactly. But most people are very praiseworthy of Rahkeem Cornwall. Just going, his
record's actually good.
This is one for all the village cricketers out there and whatever for the rigs. You get it. That's fine. But then you get the occasional person who rig shames him. And you sort of go, mate, and I say mate collectively to all these people who do this.
Yeah.
It is one of those ones like, mate, do you play a lot of test cricket? Do you play a lot of international cricket for your country? Do you play the code?
I don't play that much.
How do you have the confidence to rig shame a bloke who is 6'6" and plays for the West Indies? Like, get back in that box.
You know what I think about his rig?
No.
Is that it's proportionate.
Yeah.
He's not, he's actually in shape.
His BMI's great.
BMI's terrific.
That's 6'7".
It's terrific.
Yeah. It's not.
He is a bit like if you're making, if you're playing a bit of 2K NBA stuff.
As you like to do.
From an occasion. And, you're making your own character. Yep. He's the character you're making.
Yeah.
He'll run like a 9-second 100. He can dunk on you. He'll back up in the paint. He can shoot threes. That's Rahkeem Cornwall to me.
Yeah.
But he bowls off spin as well. So he's a bit of a parody of the meme.
I just find he gets something about his body allows a really good sling on the ball.
Can't run. He can't run.
Oh,
I've said a 9-second 100. I saw him batting. He was strolling some twos.
Great. Good. Even better.
Good luck to him.
I love that cricket allows that. There's so many sports these days where
cricket does allow that.
It is impossible to play unless you are literally like a fucking SAS.
Yeah, Pat Cummins.
Unless you Cummins.
Yeah.
It's the opposite of the point I was making because I was saying cricket sounding.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Is there anything else to talk about? Kemar Roach went past 200 test wickets.
Respect. Yeah. Other names in there, Walsh, Ambrose, Marshall, Garner, Holding, Roberts.
Pretty good.
Roach. Just to put it in perspective, because we don't see West Indies play test cricket in Australia very much. Yeah. So I got this. So Siddle, 67 matches, 220 wickets at 30. Mm-hmm. Peter Siddle commands a lot of respect. Merv Hughes, 52 matches, 212 wickets at 28. Yeah. Kemar Roach, 59 matches, 200 wickets at 27. It's roughly the same. So you put him in that kind of company and doing it with teams that supported him far less than those two players would have had. So very, very good player.
It's been said actually that I didn't realise that the West Indies took a pay cut. They took a 50% pay cut to play this series. 3 of their top batsmen didn't come because they didn't want to travel due to COVID fears. They didn't need to play this series, but they have, and they've given us something to watch for us in Australia at 1 a.m. Fair play. And they've given it actually, the last 2 test matches, England's clearly been the better side, but they've given a good shake. I mean, they fucking won the first test.
Yeah. Batting just ran out of steam. Really hoping for rain for a couple of days in Manchester just to kind of piss spoil their way to retaining the Wisden Trophy. Sponsor of the show, Wisden Cricket Monthly. They
only played 12 players as well in this series, the West Indies, whereas England played maybe 14, 15, 16, something like that, and they rotated the bowlers, whereas...
Ahead of the Gabba.
Exactly. Whereas... Joseph came out for Cornwall. Yeah, so, I mean, fair play. 3 tests against Pakistan coming up, Pez, starting Friday week. That should be interesting. They're playing 1 test at Old Trafford again still. These guys are they just living at the ground?
Living at that hotel.
They can't leave.
Yeah,
that's
bubble boy
that's
stuff.
Grim. Have you ever played at the ground where you're like, I could stay here for 7-8 weeks?
No, mate. I haven't
Haven't
gone to
you?
a ground and had that. I had a lot of thoughts playing grade cricket, but I haven't thought I could stay here for 7 or 8 weeks. Have you? It seems like something you've thought before.
Couple of grounds.
Yeah.
Couple of grounds. Stuff at home again. Just wouldn't
Once
want to.
again.
Don't want to go home. Then they go
Run
back.
me down that blind alley. You ever want to stay at the ground for 8 weeks? Yeah, mate. Absolutely. I'll work with that. Sorry.
Then they
Yeah.
go. They're playing 2 at the Aegeus Bowl, which I still call the Rose Bowl.
Well, we had
I'm a
Pakistan
purist.
out here last year, so I'm looking forward to assessing and trawling the internet for commentary on how old Nazim Shah is.
Well, Dave Warner hit 300 in a Test match against Pakistan. So you're looking forward to Dom Sibley's 300?
Absolutely. We talked to Mitch Starc about that later on the show, actually. His views on England's top 3.
Well, before we get into the guests this week, we've got Jack Leach coming up and Mitchell Starc as well before we get into hashtag RTDC. But we should shout out our sponsor, Wisden Cricket Monthly magazine, Pezza.
Yeah.
Who are supporting us.
They are
during this
supporting us through
English
this,
summer.
and once again, great and possibly incongruous for the grade cricketer to be aligned with such a great name. Sponsor of the recent England West Indies series, but also more importantly, probably the seminal tome, the seminal brand that covers stories of cricket from the start of literally the start of the game.
Yes.
From the first international match between the USA and Canada at Central Park. Look into it.
It's one of the great games. Turned a bit late.
Wisden was there. So they've got Wisden Cricket Monthly coming out. It's issue 34. 2 massive things happening in issue 34. Firstly, we are lucky enough to get a look at these magazines before they come out. The digital magazine, it is actually amazing. We said this last week, but if you secretly really like cricket, there's everything there for you. Short, long, little tidbits, funny stuff. There's links to podcasts, great pictures, etc. But the 2 massive ones in this issue are a profile of Stuart Broad written by Derek Pringle, which I've had a look at as well. It goes for a good couple of pages. And you know how it is when, you don't get it a lot in Australia, but, when an ex-test or an international player, like a former international player, covers a current player and they're a really good writer like Derek Pringle, it just adds that credibility to it. And his piece on Broad is great. Don't want to give too much away about it. It talks about his old school approach to stuff, the fact that he kind of shies away from public stuff, Stuart Broad, and compares him to his dad if you're into that sort of stuff, which we are very much. And the Steve Smith one, this will be especially important to you because he goes away from the microphone. You love to just speculate on his best innings ever. You often talk about what is his best innings. Well, Adam Burnett, great writer, with cricket.com.au, does some freelance stuff as well. Adam Burnett for Wisden sits down with Steve Smith exclusively, and Smith goes through his 10 most important innings, the innings that made him. So from the horse's mouth, Smith is a horse in this analogy.
Yes.
He goes through his 10 most important innings, and they're not all hundreds, mate, as you'd imagine.
Yeah.
A couple of good little
That's the great thing about being such a good player, where you can just say, was your highest score your best innings? Well, because Bradman did this.
Yeah, exactly.
It was was he 800 that you scored? No, well, actually, my 217, where I hit every ball exactly where I wanted to, or whatever the thing was. Yeah.
Not in the top 10.
Not in the top 10. Can you remember 10 of your innings?
No. There's that famous quote. Well, it's becoming more famous now. I'm going to read it. It's already in the thing, but it's a story of Nathan Lyon batting with Steve Smith. I think it was at Edgbaston.
Yeah,
and,
that's right.
Lyon comes out with a message from Steve Waugh.
Yeah.
Just working tens.
Yeah.
Going back to the 90s, safety.
Yeah.
They did everything in tens.
Yeah.
The 3 Ps, partnerships, patience, and something else. And
Persecution.
yeah, of those who are different to us.
That's right. Steve Waugh just fingers crossed and arms crossed on the balcony.
Persecution of Scott Muller. They were the 3 Ps.
That's in next month's Wisden Cricket.
But Lyon, has that quote where he's, I remember saying to Smudger, we get 10 more runs, we get to 250, and Smith says, shut the fuck up, let me bat, I'll get it up to 300. Now, Smith in this piece denies that he used expletives.
Well, that'd be bad for his brand.
And he's lying again.
Yeah. Well, Nathan Lyon said that on this podcast. He told us that story.
Yeah.
And we laughed.
And we laugh. There's a great picture in that of Broad scratching his head as Steve Smith scoring runs. So that's Wisden Cricket Monthly, guys. You can get a deal through the grade cricket if you go to bit.ly/WCM grade. 6 issues for £9.99. That's £1.67 per magazine, or Australia $2.50 per magazine, compatible on all major devices. Wisden Cricket Monthly, bit.ly/WCM grade.
Jack Leach is coming up, and after that, Mitchell Starc.
All right, here goes. This man is well known to audiences in both Australia and across the cricketing world. Now, people might point to the signature glasses, but really, he's a spinner under 30 playing pretty regular international cricket, has a 5 for at test level to go with a bowling average under 30, a test 90 to his name, 290 first-class wickets at 25, and the man unfortunately caught up in a scandal as Steve Smith clearly impersonated Chris Rogers at Old Trafford, and everybody believes that. I'm talking about Jack Leach. Jack, it's great to have you on The Grade Cricketer.
Hi guys, it's great to be on. Very privileged. It's an honour.
Said so convincingly as well.
We'll start from the beginning, Jack. You're from Taunton, taken to the ground, only a few days old. Like, tell us a little bit about your club cricket beginnings. It was Taunton Dean, I believe, and your relationship to club cricket now.
So played for Taunton Dean since I was a boy, and grew up in Somerset watching Somerset as a lad, and kind of big Somerset supporter, and kind of always wanted to maybe play out on the county ground one day. I think my first time playing out there would have been in a school county final, and also played there in quite a few club finals as well. So it was just great to be out there on in the middle playing, and kind of made me want more, I guess. And things kind of develop, and you kind of work your way into the Somerset age groups and onto the academy, and things sort of escalated a little bit. But I'm still a club cricketer at heart for sure. I played. My last club game was actually between the Ireland Test match and getting called up for the second Test of the Ashes. So played last year, and that was enjoyable to play back with my mates. And not that these guys aren't my mates, but just that. But it's good to play where it all started, and kind of takes you sort of. I guess it reminds you of why we play the game, and it's cricket at its best, definitely.
Cricket at its best, certainly. So from club cricket to the second Test of the Ashes, completely normal progression there. But you also played some grade cricket in Australia, didn't you? Played in Brisbane for Valleys, I think it was. Kevin Peterson is very outspoken on the Brisbane, the people, the nightlife. I want to know your experiences of playing grade cricket. Is it comparable, a night on the circuit? Is that comparable to, say, night on Cardiff, where you went to uni? Is it a similar thing? Give us your experience of playing grade cricket and circuiting in Brisbane.
I had 6 months in Brisbane. I'd only just turned 18, so it was a great experience for me. Yeah. They kind of the Valleys made me feel very welcome, and I lived with a guy called Phil Saxby, who also he was played for the Taunton Dean, so there was kind of that link there. And my experience of grade cricket is it was very competitive. I found that I found the standard extremely challenging, and as a spin bowler, there wasn't an awful lot of spin, so and people knew you were a young English guy and wanted to make your life a misery. But then off the pitch, I guess it was great social time, and I remember playing a rain card on a Friday night or Friday afternoon into the evening. And I woke up the next morning, and it was bright sunshine, and the ground was dry as a bone. So that was a tough day, but a bit different to England in that way.
I love that your main takeaway from playing grade cricket is the rain card doesn't always work out in Brisbane, especially. There's a really funny thing with you, Jack. I find that you're sort of painted as like a bit of a village cricketer who's made it, who's made it to, playing in the Ashes and opening their batting, at Lords and all this kind of thing. But, you played Somerset under 13s, 15s, 17s. You played under England under 15s. You won a minor county championship with Dorset. You took 65 wickets in a county season. You played in the Ashes. You hit 90 at Lords. Like, you're actually just a worldie who's just belongs. You played 10 Test matches already. You just kind of there, but you sort of paint as like figure of fun, because especially because you kind of grew up with Joss Buttler, didn't you? Who was always sort of destined for stardom, but you've also made it as well. But Joss is the star, and Jack's just the the left arm spinner. Yeah.
I think I think I've developed a little bit later. Obviously, didn't get offered a contract at 18 when Joss did, and a few of my other guys my age. They went straight to a professional contract, whereas I kind of had to go down the route of going to university. And my aim was still to play lots of cricket at university and come back to Somerset in the summer and try and sort of keep my foot in the door that way, and obviously get a degree alongside it. So I think, if I didn't get that opportunity, then I wouldn't have made it as a professional cricketer. So lucky to have had that opportunity. And I think also I just would say I have had like good wickets to bowl on at Taunton, which has allowed me to bowl lots of overs, which not a lot of English spinners get. That's been really helpful for my development. But I think a lot of it is just the way I look is obviously glasses, bald head. And actually a lot of village cricketers can relate to that. And maybe, I think obviously underneath that, I take myself and I take my cricket very seriously. But obviously, I think I do play my best cricket with a smile on my face, and also kind of like I try and remind myself of how I enjoyed it as a youngster, and try to play with that attitude on the field. Is I want to win and do well, but actually it is a game, and it's a game to be enjoyed, and respect it for what it is.
Jack, I just want to, we are Australians and we're just obsessed with rigs here. So I just want to dig into this looks thing a little bit, because I'm not sure it gets, I'm not sure that there's an accurate portrayal of you and the rig, and I just want to know what you think about this. So, we did a bit of research for this conversation, approached a few former teammates of yours for comment. One simply wrote back bald at 21 as an Australian person, anonymous from Somerset, who was captain in 2016. But which is relevant because he could have been writing about me as well, to be fair, because I was bald at 21 too. So respect, brother. But I'm just noting all of this talk about being a cult hero, free glasses for life. Cricinfo describes you as unathletic, and mate, I'm trawling through your Instagram. There's plenty of good rig shots there as far as I'm concerned. I see one from earlier this year. You sat down, propped up, your left arm's propped up, has a pretty good pump on the long head of the tricep. I just want to volunteer that I think your rig is a bit better than it gets credit for, and wondered whether you'd care to comment on that.
Thoughts?
Well, it's really nice for someone to acknowledge that the underneath the shirt and obviously the glasses and the bald head, there's actually a decent rig there. So I do take pride in that, and I feel like I went to uni at 18. I worked out with a lot of rugby players, and they all did bench.
Yep.
It's a lot of benching, a lot of before nights out and stuff, and that's where it all started, really. Also, Darren Burnett at Somerset S&C coach. He got me in the gym early and got me lifting a lot of weight. So I do. I think I think actually I don't move athletically, and it's something that I am working on. But I've still got a six pack, so I'm happy with that.
Well, because and rightfully so, because we had Monty on the show a couple of weeks ago, and we were just going through his home workout routine. I'm not sure if you've seen that, Jack, but he's been doing sort of leg press on the couch, and your methodology of actually benching with rugby players seems much more efficient in rig work. But I digress. I want to ask you just staying with the rig chat. Obviously, Rahkeem Cornwall playing in this Test match. Just absolute wonderment on the eyes. I want to know, you're looking forward to a pint with the big man after the game. I just need to know more about him being tapped up by the San Francisco 49ers, being tapped up in the NFL. Are you looking forward to a beer with Rahkeem?
I would love that. I think it's going to be difficult maybe with the COVID kind of situation.
Okay. That's right. Yeah.
Not being able to pick the other team, but at some point I would love to have 5 minutes with him and have a chat, because
just compare notes. Yeah.
Yeah. He's a bloody good bowler as well. Yeah. And it's been good to see him playing and doing well. I played in the A tour against him and he cleaned up. So he's a good bowler. He hasn't obviously taken any wickets in this game, but I've seen him in more helpful conditions, and he's mighty effective. So I guess another one who maybe on the outside, certain people might have certain opinions, but actually, underneath that, there's a very good cricketer.
You mentioned COVID there, Jack. I noted just, I know I was trawling through your Twitter as well, but
a lot of social time.
Yeah, interesting tweet, like at the peak of COVID-19 that makes a comparison between, you retweeted this, or you actually quote tweeted this, but a comparison between Ben Stokes and the NHS, and it says, just think of it this way, we are Jack Leach and the NHS is Ben Stokes. All we have to do is stay in and assist our partner so they can get us through the battle. Don't be taking any risky singles though. Lyon might not be able to catch, but you could catch corona. Hashtag stay safe. And I'm just thinking, like, for the Aussies who look at that, in this analogy, like, given his tactics and field placements, like, is it safe to assume Tim Payne is Boris Johnson in this analogy and Justin Langer perhaps Xi Jinping?
Oh, that's great. We can go further with that. There's I think so much we can do with it. I think that's where cricket's so great, is that you can make these analogies to real life, and I think we're always learning from cricket about life, and I think we're always it's the other way around as well. So I'm all for those kind of analogies, and I know you boys are definitely. So just keep them coming.
Okay, so Leach says Langer is Xi Jinping. Okay, that's Fox Sports. All right.
That's clickbait tomorrow morning.
Sorry, mate.
Okay, yeah, confirmed. I was going to ask you, Jack. Obviously, one of the big stories from this Test match, or this Test series, I suppose, has been Stuart Broad's involvement. His unselection in the first Test, and then coming back really strongly in the next two Tests after that. I mean, how keen were you to avoid him in the nets, and also just Jofra Archer generally in the nets, because those, like, his net bowling videos are just frightening, and I think I've seen he bowls massive no balls in the nets as well. So avoiding them massively.
Definitely. I'm lucky because, as a spinner, there's only me and Betty here. So, we have to bowl the first two rotations, I reckon. And that's when all the batters are batting and most of the seamers are bowling. So, I usually get a bit of dog stick at the end, and that is perfect for me. I have no interest in facing the nets. So I find nets even worse, like just claustrophobic and not enjoyable. But I did face Joff in the warm up game before this series, and I couldn't believe how fast it was.
Mm-hmm. Just one more before we wrap up here, Jack. That's you're just go through your career, and it's been a really interesting one. There's lots of ups and downs, already. So you got your England debut, then you break your thumb, and then your Somerset teammate Don Best takes your spot. Then Adil Rashid gets a go, who at the time was only on a white ball contract for Yorkshire, and then you go to New Zealand, and then you get sepsis, and then you go to South Africa, and then you possibly have one of the first cases of COVID-19, and then you're sort of in the bio bubble now. I mean, like there's so many ups and downs in there already in just a short career so far. So how many wickets are you going to take against Pakistan in the first Test is what I'm asking.
Well, I'm due enough, aren't I? So that's what I'm holding on to. Is I've I've found that, when I've had a few ups, there's always a down around the corner. And I think, again, another great thing about cricket is it kind of keeps you grounded. I think obviously, I feel like I'm bowling really well and really, I guess, really want to be involved. I feel like it could make a difference, and obviously need to wait for other people to think that as well. So just kind of be patient, I guess. I think that's a big thing cricket teaches you on the field, but also off it, that you have to wait for your go. I guess it'll be a feeling of like, once I get a go, I want to keep hold of it this time and obviously perform well and try and stay healthy as well. Obviously can't do much about what happened, and just need to hope that the health stays well. There's no reason it shouldn't. So just looking forward to what's to come rather than what's happened.
Jack Leach, congratulations on everything so far. Stay healthy. We hope to catch you out in Australia very soon. Thanks for your time.
Cheers, boys. Thank you.
All right, here goes. I've got to hold my hands up here personally. Like, this bloke should have been on the cast long ago, and actually he sledged us about that very fact last year in Sydney, and rightly so. I'm talking about the bloke with 244 test wickets, 13 fifers, 178 ODI poles, but did he do it with the right body language? It's Western Suburbs, New South Wales, and Australian King of Wheels, husband of Elisa Healy, Mitch Starc. Mitch, welcome finally to the Great Cricketer.
Gentlemen, it's about time. Thanks for having me.
So you played your club cricket at Wests, Mitch, and I say that in past tense deliberately because obviously you'd be done with that now. It's the club of the late Phil Hughes, Michael Clarke, and of course Daniel Smith. I actually remember you bowling first change at age sort of 16 or 17. So 2 questions. Tell us about life at Pratton Park, what you learnt from the hard heads there, and did you have to work hard to finally usurp Matt Day and Grant Roden to open the bowling?
Well, I probably haven't played there for about 7 years, just purely through the schedule. But
schedule issues.
Yeah, schedule issues. Yeah.
During my time at West, I've heard so much about this ridge that they used to have at Pratton Park, and how it used to be a fast bowler's paradise because he used to hit the ridge and it'd be up around the nose of the batsman, and never seen it in my time, so Pratton Park's clearly changed.
So it's like Lords, except it's horizontal instead of vertical. You sort of use a slope at Lords, but use a ridge at Pratton.
Yeah.
Never seen it, but it's been a fun time at West with some strong names you mentioned there, and some big quicks that I had to push to the side to try and get to the front.
I want to know what Mitch Starc does during a global pandemic, which is a thing that I never thought I'd be saying. But how many overs are you watching of the Test series? Or has it just been a nice break generally to not be sledged by Warnie?
I've been watching the golf actually. Honestly, I'm not a big watcher of cricket these days. I've switched it over here and there to. Just to see how it's been progressing, but I certainly haven't stayed up late at night to watch it cricket. I've preferred watching the golf, and actually have a mate, an English mate over here who lives here in England. Was up at the Hunter Valley the other weekend to play some golf, and we had a little weekend away, and he was obviously very fond of watching the cricket. So it was the first test, so we happily gave him stick for the winning inning. So that was a great weekend.
Just following up on that, Mitch, because we've got a lot of English fans who want to know what you think of the current side. I'm just looking for confirmation on this story. At the CA Awards a few years ago, a good friend of mine across from me, Ian Higgins, was sitting at the bar, slumped over a whiskey next to one of the Aussie quicks, won't say who, and they both look up at the screen and it's showing the England-West Indies test a couple of years back. Higo says, do you watch much of this, mate? And the quick replies, I haven't seen a ball. So just with that in mind, how are you assessing England's performance against the West Indies this time around, and how scared should we be of Ollie Pope next summer?
Well, I'll tell you what's hard to watch, watching that England top three. I mean, they only scored about 15 runs off 150 balls, so that makes it hard to watch cricket. But I think everyone, on a serious note, Ben Stokes is a serious player with bat and ball. But it's that obviously started slowly in that series to go down in the first test. But they've found, I guess, through their combination with their bowlers and Stuart Broad's obviously given them some stick for leaving them out of the first test. But it's I can't say too much. I haven't watched much of it, so sorry.
Well, no, I've been watching Cameron Champ play 18 holes somewhere in Abu Dhabi or whatever. One thing that has been very entertaining for a lot of people worldwide has been Dave Warner's TikToks.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen any public commentary about that. I mean, there's got to be something going on in the WhatsApp groups. There's a couple of conversations, just checking in with Dave. Is there any chat about his TikToks?
I think for a little while at the start, there was a bit of sticks thrown his way on a few of the group chats. And then I think obviously people caught on that he was getting paid some money for it. So people stopped paying attention to them, I think.
Right, yeah, fair play.
Yeah, fair enough. People have done that with us too. Just talk about contemporary stuff. I mean, it's like, many would have you as the premier short form bowler in world cricket. I certainly would, especially while you're on the cast. You famously you opted out of this year's IPL recently to spend more time with Elisa, which was very endearing. With respect to Elisa and all partners out there, including my own, would I be right in presuming that the lockdown has meant you've now definitely spent enough time with your partner and that the IPL is once again attractive, or alternatively Shield cricket at Drummoyne Oval?
I went okay at Drummoyne Oval, so maybe some Shield cricket. No, but it has been really nice. And selfishly, it's been really nice to have some time at home. And I think there's a few people who probably would agree that a bit of time to refresh the mind and the body has been fantastic. And now blokes are raring to go for cricket. We have spent probably more time together in the last few months than we have in the last 10 years. So we're still married. We still haven't been pushed too hard yet, but I'm still getting beaten on the golf course.
And then, so if you have sort of had a good amount of time together, then you've just got that really tough question of do I play in the IPL or do I play Shield cricket at, Wollongong? What is just on just face value, a lot of the media have been winding this up as a really tough question for a lot of the quicks and a lot of the Australian cricketers. Just what's your gut say if you had to choose between the IPL and
the riches of the Sheffield Shield?
Yeah, batting second against Mitch Swepson at Wollongong.
Well, I don't have a contract, so I don't have to worry about it. But I guess if you're in Pat Cummins' shoes, $3 million sounds pretty good for a bit of D20 cricket. So I know where he's going.
Yeah, fair, yeah. Well, I mean, we sort of turn the minds to what's going to happen in the Australian season coming forward here, Mitch, and obviously India coming back and Pujara and Kohli and stuff. And we've obviously seen with the UK somewhere where they can't touch the ball with any saliva and that's the Duke, and the Duke's still swinging a little bit. How the fuck are we supposed to make the Kookaburra swing on Adelaide or the MCG if we can't? What's the secret? Is it back sweat? What's the thing?
What are we looking at?
Yeah, what are we looking at? How do we do that? How do we make it swing?
Well, I was hoping to get a few tips from you boys because we can't even use sweat at training these days. They ban both sweat and saliva from training at the moment for us. So it's going to be an interesting one. Maybe we have to play more ping pong games, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, play at night.
Yeah, that Kookaburra, the red Kookaburra, does struggle without a bit of love. And I think even Jimmy Anderson came out during the week or maybe last week saying that even the Duke ball struggled a little bit for that swing that he obviously relies on so much with his fantastic skills. So it's something that's going to have to continually adapt and addressed as we find a way through the pandemic. But at the moment, obviously, it is what it is, and then health and safety is at the forefront.
Obviously, with India coming out here, I'm just really interested to sort of get a gauge because, Pez and I have never been to India, so we don't know what that's like. But you've bowled to some of the greats, obviously the Indian players specifically. I'm talking Dhoni, Kohli, the likes of that. Yeah, what does it feel like? Not probably less so in Australia, but playing in India when a Kohli or a Dhoni comes to the crease. Does that make you, as a bowler, nervous when they're coming in? Is it what's the feel in the stomach and the heart when they're coming to the crease? Just the roar of the crowd, the energy. I think we were talking to someone else recently who said, like, you can actually feel the weight of a country actually when they come to the crease. Now, you know, playing third grade at Pratton Park, you know, I wouldn't know what that feels like. But, you know, what is that like when Kohli comes to the crease, for instance, or a Dhoni?
Maybe the best way I can describe it is, I remember my first test tour was actually to India, and I didn't play any of the two tests, but we were sitting there in the second test in Bangalore. It was, I think it was maybe myself and Phil Hughes and James Pattinson sitting there running drinks. And anyway, Sachin Tendulkar was playing and he'd scored some runs and he was getting close to 100, and all of a sudden Bangalore Stadium was full and loud as anything you'll ever experience in cricket. He got his 100, they all went nuts, and then they disappeared. And then he got close to 200, and they all came back, and it got louder. He got 200, it was loud again, and they all disappeared. So these days they obviously embrace cricket a bit more, and it's loud for a long time. But in terms of some of those big name players, it is extremely loud, and it is a bit like all the country are there at the game watching and not cheering for you.
Yeah. Is that really intimidating? Is it an intimidating environment, or kind of like, oh, this is actually really cool?
I think a bit of both. I've been around long enough now not to be too drawn in by the crowd, but it still is amazing when you go to especially India and how loud it is for 20,000 screaming Indians in Bangalore is as loud as a full stadium in Australia sometimes. So it can be it can take a moment just to get used to, but at the same time it adds to that atmosphere, which is fantastic for cricket.
Just on India, Mitch, like going through the media archives following the last India series, I've just noted like a concerted effort from the Quicks, like the Aussie Quicks, to highlight just how much they're dreading bowling to Cheteshwar Pujara. So, like, leaving aside the fact that Pujara is an absolute gun who we respect and is always welcome on this show, like, can you confirm this approach is part of an overarching dog whistle strategy to alpha Virat Kohli?
Yeah, I think that was led by Pat Cummins. You know, he is the alpha of the bowling group at the moment, old Golden Balls. But but yeah, we spent a fair bit of time bowling to Pujara and Paddy at I guess at a few different stages through that series almost had to stick on Virat. So yeah, he's one who can, if the ball's not doing much and the wickets are flat, he can bat for a long time.
Which we saw this year. Yeah, we had that really important ODI series in South Africa, 3 months after the World Cup, which meant absolutely nothing. And was it the third ODI when you had the option to come back, to watch Lisa play in the World Cup final? I mean, how hard a decision was that to either play in that third meaningless ODI game in South Africa or come home and watch your wife, dominate a World Cup final from the, comfort of a press box or a hospitality box?
It was a very comfortable hospitality box, yeah. No, that unfortunately that was decided long before the series. So I was still coming back, even if it was 1-1 or 2-0. So yeah, I guess we can laugh about it now, and it was a dead rubber. But yeah, it was a bit of a nervous bus trip. Actually, it was a 5-hour bus trip to Potchefstroom, I think, where we were going for the last game, and that's actually more blokes than I've ever seen before on a cricket bus, watching how the Aussie girls preferring at the World Cup, which is fantastic to see. So yeah, and if they won, I had to get in the car back to the airport the next day, and if not, I was going to play the third game. So as it turned out, it was great to get back and watch the girls win a World Cup final, and to see nearly 90,000 people at the MCG. It's probably going to be the biggest sporting event in Australia, or the last big sporting event in Australia for a little while with what's going on. So it was a fantastic story in the end for the girls, and just glad to be there and be able to support the wife as well.
Mm-hmm. Mitch, feel free to dispute the premise of what I'm about to say, but as you know, like last year there was a bit of a small media spot fire that broke out between yourself and the new head of performance / new Pat Howard, Drew Gin. Like, so as far as I could tell, like the issue concerned training regimes for quick bowlers, where Gin, who's like an ex-Olympic rower, started to say some rare stuff about training at 20%, then 80%, then building up, because that's what rowers did 15 years ago when we won gold a lot. They're my words. In response, you said, I just want to bowl fast, which is now literally the words on your wristband. Oh, yeah. Like, Mitch, how do you deal with these non-cricket theories men with very rare ideas? And do you ever wonder whether there's any danger that the entirety of Gen X can get off your back for 2 seconds?
Are you trying to get me in trouble?
Yes.
Nah, look, very diplomatically, I can respect where he's coming from, but I didn't agree with what he was trying to get around us at that point in terms of the fast bowling. I'm not going to run into the nets and bowl 20% to Steve Smith, and neither of us going to get anything out of that session. So I think one of the best sessions we've ever had is where I tried to bowl 35 to 40 balls at his head for a session. And had to be dragged out of the net. So, no, it's that competitive net session that we're after, and there's still an element there that you need to, personally, I feel you need to remind the body what bowling fast is like and how that hurts the body, and there's an adaptability there to that. So in that instance, I didn't agree with Drew.
When you're bowling to Steve Smith, I remember watching footage. Where was it? It might have been in England just before the Ashes last year. Yeah, I think it was. He just come back into the squad, and then you're bowling to him, and he's just talking the entire net session. Yeah. And like, you bowl a ball, and he's like, you beat him, all ends up, and he's like, not much I can do about that one, my friend. Yeah. Just the weird, like, what's it like bowling to, like, the absolute, enigma?
A child in a man's body.
Yes.
It can be very funny at times. It can be very strange.
He's just endlessly talking, right?
Yeah, he can do that, yeah. And now Marnus, his little puppy dog, his little shadow, has followed him there. If you get both of them in the same net, it can be a very strange net. So you sometimes just sit back and laugh at them, but they're extremely talented players. Obviously, Steve's one of the best in the world has been for a long time, and Marnus is starting to follow him there. So, but that's the next sessions that you're after. Those hugely competitive, at times comical, at times very strange, but very competitive. And I think that's how we get the most out of ourselves at training as well, and hopefully getting to higher levels at game time as well.
Well, obviously that England series that's sort of slated for September, the ODI series, whatever. I mean, 2 weeks quarantine, 2 weeks hotel quarantine. Who are you inviting more, Marnus or Steve Smith, in a hotel quarantine for 2 weeks? There's a lot of shadow batting going on there.
Yeah, hopefully the other end of the hallway, because you're hearing tapping the bat during the middle of the night. So does Steve Smith, but it sounds like we could be away from the IPL boys. It sounds like they're getting dropped off on the way back home. So it could be a smaller contingent in quarantine back home. But hopefully we've got some facilities there to quarantine in and train, and Marnus can do his batting in the nets and not in the hallway.
Well, we look forward to seeing how all that plays out. Mitch, thanks so much for chatting with us on the way home from training, from the COVID bubble boy training that you've been doing. And we definitely don't want to get you in trouble with questions that are just, indulgent questions that you've dealt with well anyway.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me. It's always a good laugh.
Pezzy.
Yeah, Pezzy. Go with it. I'll get called Pezzy. A girl at school called me that once in year 10. I thought,
I've never called you Pezzy before, but we're going to roll with
now.
It. Okay, Pezzy. Enjoy that. Someone's going to say that next week in a comment somewhere on the internet when we're trawling. Pezzo is when I was going to say, no, Pezzy, Budgie Smuggler. And this is the start of the ad. I'm not leaving that out.
Please.
Budgie Smuggler are a huge supporter of ours and have been over the years, and now they're supporting...
Our greatest. There I said it.
Yeah.
Our greatest supporter.
There you said it.
Yeah.
Name a better duo than Budgie Smuggler and the Grade Cricketer.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll wait. Fuck, I hate that. Anyway, Budgie Smuggler are doing some really good things. We've supported swimwear for a long period of time, but now they're getting into the mask game.
Exactly.
That's so good.
So for those unaware who are outside Victoria, it's mandatory to wear masks around in this COVID-19
Mate, I was walking down the
environment.
street the other day and people are cleaning street poles.
Yeah.
Disinfecting street poles. So everything's fucking normal and good.
Yep.
Everything's completely fine. Everything's completely fine.
You're going well with everything going on at home. And, if you do have things going on at home, please get it sorted. Anyone out there. But for those unaware, you have to wear masks in Victoria, and it has given rise to, as you'd imagine, a lot of people needing masks. And Budgie Smuggler are in the mask game now, and they want us to pump this up.
Yep.
Not only are they doing masks, but they're doing custom design masks.
Into it.
People are getting into it, and they're all approved. They're medically up to standard, PPE certified, and all that malarkey.
Ticking all the boxes.
So
We're all kind of wearing masks, aren't we, in some way?
Indeed. You want to expand upon that, or is it
No,
more
just more stuff. Just drip feeding some information to you.
Nice one. Sorts of things you might get designed on your mask. Broad's shock face. This show is about Stuart Broad.
Yes.
Chris Woakes first, Stuart Broad to a lesser extent.
Yes.
Broad's shock face.
Yep.
Jason Holder, who we know and love.
Yeah.
One of the most important figures in cricket
One
currently.
of the most important figures.
Rahkeem Cornwall playing Test cricket for his country with
Yes.
2 hats on his head. The cover of this show.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, or with a San Francisco 49ers Guernsey on.
Yep.
But, Ghislaine Maxwell, look into it. There's all sorts of things you
all
can get
stuff
on.
there, yeah.
And Budgie Smuggler will accommodate that design.
And the good thing about Ghislaine Maxwell, for instance, is that her trial's on for another year. So it will remain relevant for a period of time if you want to go down that route. Whereas, Jason Holder.
Maxwell.
How important is he going to be?
Exactly. BudgieSmugglerUK.com, our great friends.
Pezzy, hashtag AskTGC. I don't like that name for you. It doesn't feel good. It feels childish.
Does that mean by rights as an Australian you will continue to call me that? You don't like it, therefore I get it?
No, because it doesn't make me feel good when I say it.
I see.
It's funny because everyone calls me Higgos in Australia, but Higo in the UK, they drop the S.
You got Missy a lot as well in a former grade cricket life.
Yeah.
Does that still hang around?
Missy Higgins was relevant. No, it was just at the time when she was a big artist in Australia.
Yep.
And obviously my cousin, which I told many people that as a lie. Anonymous
With
writes in.
Elise.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Anonymous writes in, and he prefaces this with lads. Just wanted to get in touch to share a story that happened during a game I was involved in last year in New Zealand club cricket. I was surprised upon rocking up at the ground to see one of the players look even more nervous than normal. Upon further investigation, it was discovered that he had previous dealings with the umpire, nothing abnormal, as I'm sure you'll agree. But I was surprised with what he said next. And I quote, "You don't understand, mate. My dad put him away for 3 years."
Put him away.
Put him away for 3 years. Further questioning, of course, followed, and I discovered that not only was his dad a judge, but that the bloke officiating our game today had served a custodial sentence for fraud and was indeed sentenced by our opening batter's father. Intrigued to see how the day played out, I was only left more astonished by the events that followed. Intrigued to see how the day played out. First of all, the umpire tried to give the aforementioned player out court on what was clearly a bump ball, something that even the fielding team admitted to. I was only left more inquisitive when the judge's son was completely triggered LBW, a horror decision. Any doubt whatsoever that the umpire knew the identity of the cricketer was removed when, whilst we were fielding, the aforementioned judge's son had a wicket taken away while bowling after the said umpire no-balled him after cleaning someone's poles up. Why the captain bowled him from that end, I don't know, but anyway. A few takeaways. Number one, if this situation arises again, is it even more imperative than normal that we leave all our valuables with our scorer rather than leaving them in the sheds? And two, should the player report this umpire to the relevant cricketing authorities, therefore continuing his family's quest for justice against this man? Thoughts? That's a unique situation.
You haven't had one like that, so thanks for the question, Anonymous. All very serious, well written as well. Well, firstly, on to the second question there. Should he be reported to the cricketing authorities continuing a quest for justice? I mean, has justice not been served? The judge has put him away for 3 years.
Yeah.
He's come out.
What more can he do?
Exactly. He's umpiring again. I say allow the man his freedom. After 3 years, he's gone away for fraud. I mean, many of us should be going away for fraud in many ways in our life.
Well,
He's gone away
masks,
for fraud. He's gone away for 3 years. I don't know the particulars of the case. We weren't sent them for us to make our own uninformed judgment.
Yeah.
But, wrong place, wrong time for the son, I say. And this is cricket's version of street justice. And without having any evidence to back this up, I'd harshly and unfairly suggest all umpires take up the role of umpire to compensate for some injustice that they had early on in their lives. I can only imagine what Joel Wilson went through, for example, with the greatest respect to Joel.
To the great man.
Because I've said great respect to him, so that eliminates all the disrespect I showed.
That's
him,
how it works in law. But has the umpire been rehabilitated though?
Absolutely.
Well, his actions suggest that he has not been rehabilitated, and he's a reoffender.
This is recidivism.
Yes.
Well, is it fraudulence? Is it fraudulence again to just? He spent 3 years in the slammer.
Yeah, he was saying some things.
For fraud, right? And then you get one chance as an umpire just to trigger the judge's son. It's just a bit of cricket. Is this son a good player? Probably not. He's probably used to it. I say what's he meant to do? Is he meant to umpire him fairly and squarely? Get out of here. Umpires give guys out for worse reasons than being sent to jail for 3 years. Umpires give blokes out for looking at them the wrong way or throwing the ball at them in a manner which they can't catch it with. And now this umpire's in trouble because his judge put him away in a slammer for 3.
They're all good questions.
They're all good questions. Thank you for the question, Anonymous. Tom Rollinson writes in, Dear #AskTGC. Does make sense. As a devoted fan of the podcast, I can't think of any better way to seek advice on a deeply troubling issue. I can't think of a better way.
Yeah.
I've recently reached my 20s, celebrating in true lockdown style by getting pissed off attempting to play golf, following by badgering cricket net videos, brackets, why has this become a thing, close brackets. Returning home from university has left a void in my life, desperate to be alphaed or champed by my fellow TGC badgery housemates, which leads me on to my problem. Instead of the traditional happy birthday mate messages being received and posted on social media, I was greeted by terms such as champ, ankles, decaf, and even daddy kisser, with the intention to publicly humiliate me. Have I been alphaed on my birthday, of all days, or am I in fact the alpha figure in the group, living in their heads rent-free and causing them to attempt to demoralise me on this day? Also, thoughts on the downfall of Root following his swap from GM to New Balance, averaging 71.2 and 45 respectively. Cheers, lads. Love the cast. Tom. He goes.
First of all, Tom, do you kiss your dad with that mouth? Secondly, yes, you've been alphaed. I don't think they're being referred to as daddy kisser. Doesn't scream to me big dick energy.
If someone's willing to call you daddy kisser publicly, I'm guessing you're not an alpha, because if you were, that person wouldn't write that.
But then at the same time, as it's coming from blokes who are also listening to this peripheral podcast filmed in the depths of, the COVID epicenter in Australia, then I think you're probably going to be okay. Fourthly, if they want to call you DK from now on, daddy kisser, let me know.
Yep.
Fifthly, GM to me is a bit yuck, and I can't think of many players who looked good except for maybe Quinton de Kock or maybe Ross Taylor, who looked good with a GM.
Steve Waugh?
Not for me. It's gritty. Steve Waugh's gritty. Steve Waugh was an elegant, good-looking...
When I say look good, I just mean the entire image of safety that he perpetrated.
Yeah, but that's a different question that you're asking there. I'm thinking...
What does look good mean? You just mean as a stroke maker?
A stroke maker, yeah.
Yeah.
Although I think Ollie Pope used the GM now, I have to say that.
I think GM is a bit classical. It's pure. And they actually had a bat called the Purist.
Yeah, that's true.
And we are fans of purity.
Yeah, we wrote about that.
I think we need to clear up a few terms. Obviously, badger, like for the Aussie listeners, like badger is a very English term. Cricket badger is like a snuff or a nuff.
Yeah.
Something like that. This is a cross-cultural exchange on this show.
Yeah.
After all. He's a self-aware badger, Tom, in this. I'm not sure if there is... the suppressed premise in this post is that each exchange confers an alpha and a beta. There has to be one or the other. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if that's true here. I find it difficult to ascribe an alpha to anybody involved in this exchange. You've got his mates who've decided to execute a choreographed humiliation publicly on Facebook during someone's birthday. That's not very alpha. It's there's a WhatsApp going, let's get him. And let's call him cool things like decaf and ankles. Got him, But on the other hand, our mate here is calling himself a badger and he's asking about Root's sponsorship. And quoting averages to the first decimal place. So
That's not his research. Only to the first decimal place. What is this, fucking village hour? Second and third decimal places from now on, please, DK.
I like this aggression from you.
Please.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's a classic alpha among anyone in this exchange, including us.
Doesn't sound like the household was filled with, women's underwear. There was no conferment with, women in the household.
And what is the sound of that? From experience, it's not the sound of a house with women's underwear through it. Are you familiar with what those sounds are?
I've been to a brothel.
Tim Chandler, I'll just carry on. Why does Ollie Pope make me feel so safe? I'm a university graduate living at home, no job prospects, no work experience, no money. I face a post-COVID world which almost certainly means economic ruin and a catastrophic rise in house prices. I'm not sure about that. Why does a ginger the same age as me who hits a ball with a plank make me feel like this is all fine? Why am I happy to watch camera shots of him on the England balcony whilst I lie in bed covered in what's-it dust? Why? Yeah.
So the funny thing about the what's-it dust is that I looked that up because I don't know what a what's-it dust is. And it's twisties. They're twisties in Australia.
It's
the same thing.
Oh,
same
is it?
thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got what's-it dust as a chicken and cheese dish.
As a dish?
Well,
it's a packet of chips.
It makes sense, yeah.
Crisps.
What's-it dust?
Yeah, they're twisties, yeah. It's like Shaw with Rexona and Vauxhall and Holden, that kind of
Got it. Yeah.
Anyway, what's it dust just sounds, it could be anything.
That's
So
a good
it's so
finish.
nefarious, what's it dust. I'm into it.
I know.
Anyway, so there's that. Then Ollie Pope hasn't earned the right to make a country feel safe yet with balcony-laden images of him. You need to score at least 10,000 test runs to make anyone feel safe.
Yeah, but it's the symmetry of his
you have to
entire
have hairy
batting
forearms at least. I think you need to be involved. He needs to be involved in some sort of Brexit negotiation to make a country feel safe. He needs to be involved he needs to be the catalyst of some sort of a win which invokes some sort of COVID vaccine.
To feel safe.
To feel safe in any sort of context. He's too young. He's 22 years old. He has a nice cover drive, sure, don't get me wrong. Also, love redheads. Craig McDermott was my first love as a player. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, redhead's good. Into him.
Yeah, I don't know.
Safety. Safety on a balcony? No, man, it's too early.
But Tim's saying he does. So he's just asking why.
Mate, he's covered in what's it dust. This cunt doesn't know what's going on.
I love this new He Goes.
I think the coffee didn't hit this morning. I just feel a bit...
Yeah. No, roll with it, though.
Fuck off.
Hugh Rigney writes in, boys, are we going to ignore the elephant in the room that is that fat house track in the middle of the new pods? I need a trigger warning for that shit. My jaw is swinging like a rusty gate just listening to it. DJ Higgos from Upstairs Cargo. Well, that in yourself?
It's,
It's Hugh.
It's nice to get...
Is his name Hugh Rigney, or is that a...
That's not a burner account of mine. Hugh Rigney, I didn't pick that up. All right, last one of the week, Pez. Joseph Woolley. #RTDC for you legends. So after having a very standard third grade game last season, 11 not out, batting at 6, which I rounded up to 20 odd, and 2 for 30 odd. I thought, it's fucking
that still works. It's lazy and it works.
I thought I'd earned a round on the circuit. I've
earned this.
Yeah. To cut a long story short, a friend sent me up with a girl, and we ended up back at her place. Then she hits me with a question as we're chatting on the couch. Do you play any sports? Now, my initial reaction is to lie, saying no or pretend I play footy, but was forced to retire with a knee injury. Mm-hmm. But for some reason, as I was deciding which lie to go with, the words were already coming out of my mouth. Yeah, play a bit of cricket, haha. Nervously awaiting her reply, she says, oh, nice. How good has Paddy Cummins been looking lately? And boys, to put it lightly, I've never been more attracted to a person in my entire life. My question for you is, why am I bashful of my cricket playing, other than the fact I've averaged 6.11 and taken 6 catches over the last 2 seasons? Why do we keep ourselves in the proverbial cricket closet? Should I wear it with pride or continue to keep it close to my chest? Great to have you boys back in my ears again. God bless.
Yeah. It's a
very nicely worded question, Joseph.
Yeah, thanks, Joseph.
Friendly for once.
Yeah. I think it's just very rational. I'd be more concerned if Joseph, without any self-awareness, responded to the question about Cummins by launching into how much he loves cricket and loves playing with his mates, because that's the surefire way to conclude the relationship before it commences.
100%.
So I think he's on the right track mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I did want to clarify when his compadre said, "Oh, nice. How good has Paddy Cummins been looking lately?" Whether she was referring to his playing or his eyes, possibly both, because both would apply. But even so, that's whichever made him feel attracted to her, go with it. But yeah, I think stick with the bashfulness of it. Yeah. Don't let it out of the closet. The only thing that I'm worried about is that Joseph actually really does love the game. Like he's an absolute. Let's say badger for it. He's a badger for it.
Yep.
In which case you're gone anyway because it'll be you won't be able to suppress it. She'll come and watch you. You average 6.11, and the truth about the sadness in your life will become clear. But as Monty and Greg Matthews says, just own it, brother.
I think, something we've spoken about a lot is that you should never, despite committing like 30 hours a week for probably 80% of your entire adult
part-time
existence,
job according to the OECD.
all that kind of stuff. You should never admit to actually liking the game through fear of being vulnerable, especially like if you're going to say it to the opposite sex, because in my experience, 98% of the time they're going to go, "Ugh, I hate cricket," and then I have to say, "So do I," and I do, but also like this is my job, so
He's like, "Oh, what level do you play? You play pro? I play third grade."
Yeah, but you must like it. Yeah, but I don't want to tell you how much.
But it's also, I don't even know if I like it.
I don't want to reveal that. I want to reveal that.
And then it kind of precipitates a conversation of like where you're like, I play like I don't really like. I've been playing for so long, I don't really like it. And then the missus or the partner's like, why do you do it? And you're like, I don't know.
Because I didn't realize how much it's just been my entire life until I have to say it. It's like, oh, you live in the UK? Yeah, I played over there. Oh, so you really like it? Oh, yeah. But, what do you do? I'm doing a lot of exhaling out loud in conversations. Yeah. And then I go home and masturbate into a sock while crying.
Sorry, got in your way there. Getting in the show now.
Thanks to Jack Leach. Thanks to Mitchell Starc.
Polite man, Jack Leach.
Very polite. Very humble.
Yeah, just ahead of the comments that'll come out after that. Oh, Jack didn't talk about tubbing or circuits or say any swear words. Maybe sometimes in Test cricket, there are just guys who are nice people, nice and polite people who play cricket.
And what we're saying is we don't trust it, and what are his secrets? See you next week.